Welcome, welcome, Gail.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm ready to play with you.
Okay, great. We'll just cut straight to the thing. The last thing, what do you remember the last couple of things that we did? And you can talk about...
I wanted to make sure because it's hot in here and I got my fans on here. If you hear any residual noise, that's no good.
No, you're good. I actually don't, I don't have your voice is very clear.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So, do you remember anything? I can tell you the basic thing that happened. If you want to yourself, what do you think?
Just give me where we're at now. You know.
Well, the last thing is that you found out the secret. The name of the last episode was The Secret that you found out, which is that at least part of what's going on in the city of AI and the world of this is that there are these kind of degenerated kids. These are rich kids who don't have a lot going on, so they basically spend their time psychically torturing people. Do you remember any of that?
Does that mean that these people too are also captive deities?
That is what thank you. You skipped ahead to yes, there's something like that. These deities, basically everyone in the world, even like sidemen, people sweeping the street, are actually deities. So you are right to consider these people also deities. What else did you... Go ahead and say more if you want.
Well, that's the only thing that's been flipping my lid is the fact that these people are in a celestial entombment.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out, and then seeing these kids and what they're doing based on the condition of the, miles of garbage, sludge, or...
Yeah.
Where this comes from them. Like, is the prison have this trash in it? Is it just coincidental? Is it intentional? Or is it just something that happened over time in this world that they've been put in?
Well, there was something talked about in the first episode that Elder Miguel did as Melchizedek. He basically it was explained that all the fears that were going on in the society of the city were being suppressed and pushed into this kind of sludge. So the sludge is the result of everybody's suppressed thoughts that have been pressed so much that they push them into another part of the city, a world, and make them into this big garbage mound, if you will. But it's of course the whole planet.
Right, and to appease them, they just restate the slush as something that'll dopamine them, sodas and whatever else, products.
Yeah, they pretty much have, you found out a couple episodes ago that they're putting a lot of this sludge into pretty much all the food and drink and everything else that people consume. And that's what's happened.
You're eating your pain.
You're eating your pain, and you're eating what's repressed. And so in a way, there's kind of an incentive for the rulers to keep things suppressed so that there'll be ample raw material to torture people with. Of course, you're living in a world that seems to be literary, and you said this before yourself, to the point where you're weirdly in a story, aware it's a story, but still stuck in the story, and so are all these other people. Which is kind of, the thought of assimilation, or whatever you want to say.
Well, trying to explain that in the past to them has done me no good.
Well, they're still stuck in it, but I've been
stuck in it too, right?
Everyone's stuck in it. Melchizedek too. You're all stuck in it, and so how will you get unstuck is part of the, part of the goal of the game.
Right.
Well, I would say,
as Penn, my recent character's pondering has been, is this where he's supposed to be? Is he really stuck here? Because where was he before wasn't an actual place really, right?
Right.
He's kind of frustrated because he doesn't have his feet on the ground in a way, like in reality.
Right.
And nowhere for him feels like where he's supposed to be.
Right.
And now he's in this mindset, like, you know, he's just living with all these trapped people. And he hasn't found Melchizedek yet.
Right, he's still trying to find that.
Who was the only person he really ended up communicating with on a regular level.
Right, right.
Everyone else kind of came and went and disappeared. And a bunch of people disappeared after they ended up in Xaltia.
Right. Okay, well.
And he's still dealing with that inner struggle of this mixed up world kind of resurrected his internal struggle.
Right. So you see a kind of a connection between the most intimate inner world and the external world, and then eventually the external super world of the gods and stuff. It's all kind of connected. And you,
right, that's what he thought was maybe the reason why he was here was because he has an internal world.
I think you really, right. Go ahead, Frank.
But that's, you know, the ego trying to say there's a reason for you here, and he's still trying to do that, you know.
Right, right. You are in a place where, let's see, let me see this right. You're in a place where, let's see, I'm sorry, let me get to this place. Sorry.
No apologies, Prem.
Thanks a lot, Fred. I appreciate you. It'll be right there. I'm just having a little trouble starting it up. Let's see. Okay, hang on. Give me a moment. I'm so sorry. I have to pause it. As you're recovering from the hospital, you have basically a bunch of hostages who are these young people. Well, they're not even that young, but they become infantilized as they've gotten more and more just kind of bitchy and hurt people. Like they're like bad voices to schizophrenic people and bipolar people and whoever else they can mess with in these hospitals. But as you consider all that, and there's like the alarms going off and everything, you see basically everything around you. You see the heaven above you. You see, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it was rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And you see this big, tall man. He's probably like 1,000 feet tall. And then he's also like a tiny person that you can kind of see, that you can hold in your hand as like a picture. He's like both at once, and you don't know where you are, but you see that everything you've been involved in is kind of like, well, like a scroll that's been like unrolled. And you see this guy opening a book. He steps out of that book. He all of a sudden was in that book and out of that book. You see that kind of mystery simultaneously in a way that, you know, film couldn't do, but we're doing this.
Big on the page, small in the hand.
Yeah, and he's got a book that he's basically put the whole world in. And you get a vision that Melchizedek has forced him to run away, and he's run into this book. As he opens the book, he welcomes, there's like a beam of light, and the kids wake up, the little baby ones, the ones who've been torturing, and they kind of run after this light. Do you go after the light also? Or
where is this happening?
This is in the middle of weirdness. You don't even know where you are anymore. You're in this kind of gray space. Everything's been erased by this guy with a book. And the only people that you know are those babies who are now running away from you. They're like floating away. And then you have Cassandra, Tobit, Isabella, and you.
Oh, Tobit, so this happened in the garage area?
No longer are you in the garage. Everything's faded, and it's some kind of weird, like, outside the simulation thing. The guy...
And I'm not aware of when this started happening.
It's happening immediately right now. You're right there in it. It's happening... It's like the next thing after you watch the last episode. This is the next thing.
Call out to Tobin and Cassandra.
Yes. Yes.
What's going on now?
I have no idea. I don't know, Guy. What are we going to do? Should we get these babies back, or should we let them get taken?
Well, as long as they're not staring down the screen messing with people.
I think that's all they're going to do.
But who's taking them? What's going on?
It's that weird man. I don't even know who he is. Oh, wait. I do know who he is. Why did I not know? That's the source. That's the way. That's the person I go and see. It's what I now know is a cult.
It can't be real.
He thinks he's the only thing real. That's one of the things he says.
Everything's been a living symbol of something. Everything. And this guy has to be one too.
Should we let my cousins go away? I mean, he seems to be either saving them or taking them somewhere.
Go away where? I don't even know where I am right now.
We're floating around in some page with no words on it.
Each in the bathroom.
What did you say?
I said at this point I might just go with him to find a bathroom. There's nothing here.
Well, I will go where you go. I'll go where you go too, friend.
I start following behind these kids wherever they're going.
Everybody falls into this book. You get followed in, and basically you feel yourself being closed in a book like this. And the next thing you see is your back. Hang on a minute, friend.
I see my back?
Nah, I got the wrong thing.
Fourth dimensioning this?
It's like that, almost.
I see the back hand in front of me.
You see everybody. It's a great demonstration outside the first building that you saw.
So I'm back out inside I'm back in the city.
Yeah, and you're in a crowd. There appears to be 3 demonstrations going on.
Right, so this prison is a book.
When you say the prison is the world you're in seems to be a book, yes.
What are they screaming about, Tobit?
Well, there's the 3 demonstrations. There's the people who want the new presider, there's people who want the old presider, and there's people who want no presiders, and they're fighting each other. They've been doing this for months and months.
Who's a provider, presider?
The presiders are good government, so-called, but we've had a lot of lack of confidence in it lately because everybody's taking sides, and no one can come to any agreement on anything.
That makes sense. How could you in a prison?
And you mean the whole thing's a prison? The whole thing's a prison. Yes, Tobin, it is. This whole thing is a distraction. Everything about it is a distraction.
So we tried following the kids and the tall man and ended up back here.
Well, it's weird. It's like you look at above and there's a cloud almost. And you can see his face and the baby's faces in the clouds. You can kind of tell they're just clouds. You can kind of also see that these babies are kind of like at this man's command, playing with the people. There's almost like these fibers that you talked about before. A couple episodes ago, you're saying how everything was kind of fibrously related to the mind.
Like in me, like in Xaltia, except in this case, above the clouds are the pages.
That's right.
These fibers are pages.
Right. Now
the only way before we were able to cross the fibers was when we had the Nancy spider.
What can we do about it? There's a bunch of people shooting at each other in the crowd. People are screaming for the new presider. People are screaming for the old presider. There's people throwing rocks at both, saying we don't need any presiders. The whole crowd is going crazy. I don't know. We could stay down here with the crowd, or we could go up to the clouds, I suppose, or we could do something else.
There's nothing we can do about these crowds. They're going to keep doing exactly what they want. If we go and say anything, it's just going to add one more what the hell to the scene. I think the real issue is the crowd. They won't be freed until we deal with the real issue.
Well, then maybe we should go on and follow that line up. I can kind of see. Do you remember how you had that book and you could write something in the book? Maybe you could do that again.
All right. Well, I dig out my pen.
You got it.
And I think hard and I draw a line like a climbable rope from the ground up to the cloud.
And you do it. And all of a sudden, you're in a different world.
I'm looking for that tall, short man and those baby men. Not there? Didn't make it?
He seems to have faded into almost pictures of the sun, pictures of the moon, and then becomes the sun and moon. Whereas all these babies, they're kind of taking you into a land, which is, I have notes on it, I'm going to look at it. There's a river. There's a river of blood in front of you, and you can cross it, go down it, or avoid it. You're like in the middle of it, like a desert, and there's like a river of blood, and it's going forward. In the further on, and you see where the river leads, there's like a crossroads, and there seems to be some kind of city there.
Well, I do my best to sketch a bridge across the blood lake.
Let's roll the dice. Let's see. We'll roll the dice. We'll roll a 10-sided and a 12-sided. First, we'll roll for the difficulty, which is 1 and 10, so 11. Let's roll more than 11. And you have rolled 9. So as you go across the bridge, along with Cassandra, Isabella, and Tobit, and the bridge collapses and you fall in the river of blood.
Oh, great.
All it is blood. There were other rivers that are available that are worse.
It's not a fast-moving river, so we can still cross it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's very, very disgusting, and kind of like it makes you. I'm gonna roll the dice to see if you don't vomit or something. We'll do you first. You do well. Let's do Cassandra. She gets kind of sick, but she maintains herself. Tobit stays okay, and Isabella, like, really starts getting sick.
She turns into Little John and starts floundering in 2 inches of water.
Who's Little John? Who's Little John?
Are you all right? I yell out to her.
And then she starts to, she starts to drown under the river. Cassandra tries to get herself back together. Let's see if she can do it. No, she can't. Oh, yeah, she can.
What?
She's got her shit back together. Tobit's never been sick. You're fine. Isabella's drowning in the river of blood.
I draw a little lifesaver.
A lifesaver? Let's roll for that. Oh, very nice. It is a real, like, beautiful lifesaver. It's almost big enough for all of you to be on. Do you get on?
The river is big. It's not like a small path.
It's a big river, but it's not like, impossible to cross or anything. You want Tobit gets on the thing you created and pulls Isabella onto it. Cassandra finds her way onto it. What do you do? It's like a big life preserver, kind of more of like a raft. Because you rolled really well. That's why it happened like that.
Yeah, I got on it as well.
And without any ado, you float toward the crossroads. Do you resist the current, or you go straight in? You don't resist. You go in.
Well, we're trying to cross it, right? So.
Right. Is that what you're... Okay, well, then you cross the river, and you're on the other side. What do you do with that raft? Do you leave it, or do you let it... Or you bring it ashore, or do you take it with you?
I pull out the page, crinkle it up.
Okay. Let's see. And it disappears.
We don't raft for any other crazies.
You see distantly there's two other rivers. There's a river of gleaming pus and a river of scorpions.
What is this, hell?
You want to know?
No, I was just... Penn just stated out loud. Like, that's some weird...
You see a sign, and you see it in ancient glyphs that are kind of reminiscent of Mesoamerican glyphs. But all of a sudden you can kind of read them because you're you, and you're kind of Superman type person. You read that it says Xibalba, Xibalba.
Xibalba?
Xibalba, Xibalba.
Xibalba?
Xibalba, Xilbal. What? I can't remember it. Xibalba, Xibalba. And as you kind of walk toward there's like a place that's going down. All three rivers are going down into a whirlpool into this place. You see the city that you saw from afar was actually a reflection of the waters, and the city is actually down below. It's an underworld city.
Okay, where are we?
You are outside the you are outside. You're basically looking down into this whirlpool of three different rivers. One river is made of blood. Another river is made of pus. Another river is made of scorpions, and they're like swirling down. It's like you see this ridiculous sign. It says Xibalba, and there's an arrow that points and then points down. So you have a sign that's standing there, and it's just pointing down into this hole. It says Xibalba. It's like if you want to go down.
Well, I'm looking for the rest of them. Does anyone know what Xibalba means? Xibalba means?
Let's see if any of them know. We'll see Cassandra. Cassandra does not know. Tobit. Tobit has ideas, said that he heard of it like in the various ancient peoples of the world, including people who are still around, including people who are in the future. They're kind of all converging in a thought that he said, this is like a hell that was in a particular people. And you start to realize something. I'll give you a clue. As you feel that you are in a book, you realize that basically who's ever telling you this, me maybe, you see that the book is actually in that man's hand is a chapter of that book is Xibalba, and you are in that man's book in a desert that goes on forever, and then there's a potential of going down the drain, if you will, into the actual city. You can see the kids, your enemy, the torturer kids, are somehow involved in the thing, but they might be characters rather than the author. The man appears to be the author of everything. He's got the book that you can't see, but you feel yourself in the book. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and think about it if you want.
It's trippy, but I don't know.
Isabella is...
Well, I get it, but what does Xibalba mean? Does it mean down? Is it
Xibalba,
okay,
well, you know what? I will, I'll just tell you, if you look it up, Xibalba is the underworld of the Mesoamerican people, specifically the Maya people. And there's some gods that live down there that are the Lords of Xibalba, who are, really kind of bad guy gods.
Well, I guess the River of Blood and Scorpions makes sense then.
And pus, too. There's like 3 of them, and they're kind of going down into it. Okay, I'll give you one more thing. The kids have all become these Lords of Xibalba, and they're waiting for you down there. They're kind of saying, hey, come down here if you dare, if you're brave. Otherwise, you'll stay up there in the desert and starve to death. And there's lots of laughter.
I screamed down to them, you're a bunch of asshats.
They really are. I hated them before they had these powers. They were bad little kids. I hated my cousins.
Why do you keep saying your cousins?
They're my cousins.
What does that even mean?
Well, I believe through another branch of my family. See, I have a branch of a family. Uncle Stanko's a branch of a family. And then these kids are a branch. They're all kind of related. We're a very wealthy family, but the wealth can only go around to so many people. And basically, these kids have been left out of most of the money. I have some money coming to me. That's might be one of the reasons Uncle Stanko wants to marry me.
Well, ew.
Yeah, I know. I think so, too. I really kind of hate him. Everyone hates him, hon. He doesn't even like himself.
I look at her face and I say, but can you see the disconnection from reality that's happening right now?
I've never been in this ridiculous place. I feel very disconnected. I've never been here before. What are you trying? What do you want me to see, friend? I'm listening to you.
I don't know, I say to her. You seem very complacent about the fact that these are just your cousins, and they're obviously some kind of hell demons.
They've become demons over time because of the kind of magic they practice. They've tortured... I sometimes think they're torturing me. I don't really know if they are, but I hear voices sometimes. I hear all kinds of things. One of the reasons I don't like elevators or small places, because I always feel that I'll be cramped up with them.
So these kids specifically...
Say it one more time.
Watch people.
One more time, friend.
They taunt
people, yeah. They taunt people.
Wait a minute. They taunt people. They watch people. So these things are why people become schizophrenic?
Well, in my case, I wonder because, I think there's natural tendencies toward that. Maybe it's just an energy you have, and then outside forces can, exploit them and, kind of ride your soul. At least that seems to be what I have felt myself. The Operative Recovery Institute was trying to help me with these things. But every time they tried to help me, in a way, they kind of hurt me too, and it became an unending spiral, kind of like the hole in the ground that they want us to go down to now.
I got you.
Well,
I look down back at the kids or at them.
You see they all become very terrible looking lords of kind of like gods, very monstrous, and they all seem to have certain things like pus and swords and just shitty things. They all seem to be the Lord.
I laughed to myself a little bit. Oh yeah, I gotcha. And I yelled down to him, "Hey, you guys seem real sweet.
Come down to play with us. Come down to play."
Oh, you have such a sweet voice.
We're very sweet. Come sample our candy.
I said, nah, I'm just going to watch you from here.
But you have to come down. You have to come down and do our tests. We have tests. You have to pass our tests.
Oh, we're way more entertained up here watching you.
You'll starve to death up there. There's nothing there but scorpions and pus and blood.
I draw a little buffet table.
Okay, you got it.
I say, no, we're good. We got some food. You want some?
The hell with you. You have to come down here.
Yeah, I draw some tents and a little bath and a nice little stuff to hang out in for everybody. I draw a porta potty. It's like, no, we're good. We got everything we need right here.
Let's see, they're gonna... Well, I think we've created our own world, and they can have their own fucking world down there on their own. I don't need to go down there either. Man, this whole thing makes no sense to me.
Set them off. They don't like anything worse than being the ones watched.
You're right about that, by the way. They're getting very angry.
I make everyone binoculars.
Well, what you see is there's various houses, and they have different like levels of stuff. They're like little chambers, and you see them, and they have mannequins of themselves, and you see like people coming down, seeming through other like vents in the ground, like some other parts of the world, and they're coming down there, and they're trying to talk to the mannequins, and then the babies are like messing with the people, saying, "We're really not here. We're like something else." And they would like basically laugh at them and torture them. And a couple other people have gone into these little houses and they don't come out. You hear them screaming and dying. You're just afraid that you won't come down and play with us because you're terrified of us. You know how much more powerful we are than you.
No, I just don't want your grubby hands on me.
Oh, they're grubby. They're grubby.
Oh, they're grubby.
I'll get you dirty. All of you.
And Penn's up there laughing. He's like, you're so funny.
Well, you'll laugh for a long time. You can have your little buffet table, but eventually you'll run out. You'll have to come down here. Well, I have to ask you, do you want to stop there, or do you want to do something else and build something else, or do something else at that point? Because you seem to be on a standoff here.
Right, I mean, we've got to make a plan, right?
Well, go ahead. If you want to make the plan now, go ahead. Like,
if we just go down there with them, they're just going to torment us, or we're going to end up getting in a fight or something.
Probably.
And I can tell I've made them a little bit irritated, not doing what they want. We got to find a way to stop people from going to them.
I agree with you 100%. What do you think we should do, Penn? We still have the, I don't know how far away we are. We seem to be many worlds away, but we still have the communication, the guy and the others and the robots too. I wonder if, I don't know, maybe they'll come. Or maybe we should go back with them, or, well, I don't know. I'm just letting you know, Penn, I've got this communicator if you want it.
I wouldn't want to drag anyone down into this mud.
I agree, Topin. We shouldn't bother them. We'll get to see them when we get out of this. We'll go back and tell them about it. All right.
I just don't know how effective. I don't know how much I can change. He says, sure.
It seems you've been able to build more and more as you've become more aware over these last little bit of time. You started out barely using that book, and then you used it last time to get yourself into another section of the world. And now you've been able, I don't know, it seems like you have a book and our enemy has a book, and you could fight your book versus his book if you had enough knowledge and experience, which I don't know how to give you because I'm just tripping right now, friend. I've never been to this. I feel like we're all in a dream, like we're all going to wake up or something.
Wait a minute, you said the enemy has a book?
The big ugly guy who I see is now our enemy, the Source. I thought he was a good friend. I thought he was a friend to everyone, but I've come to the conclusion over these times that the Operative Recovery Institute is actually a cult. The Source is the one, and one of the main life coaches that teach everybody everything. I'll call him an enemy.
He has a book.
He has a book. Yes.
And I think Melchizedek does too.
Yes, I think so. What do we do?
I opened my book and I draw a little circular hole in it. And I said, maybe we should jump in my book.
I'm ready. Yeah, me too. Let's take
It doesn't have much in it except for notes about the city. So if we go back, maybe it'll get us back to the city. No, it's a different book, right?
Or you can do anything. Who knows? You want to go in the book? You decide to go in the book.
Yeah.
Okay, you go in the other book. You go in the book. Do you have a plan after this, comrade? I tell you, odd game, Gale. Do you have more?
One question: if I go in the book, do I keep the book?
You kind of like simultaneously hold it and be held by it. That seems to be how the other guy works. Which means you could be in the world of the book, but then you still have the book, and you could conceivably be able to get out of the world. Although conceivably you get stuck in the world. Who knows? But you put yourself in the book. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Do you want to end here, or do you have more that you want to do when you're in the book?
We can do more. You got more doing stuff. I'm good. I'm hanging out.
Perfect. One of the things I considered as one of the possibilities, I thought you might do this, friend, to have the idea of the book. The world of Xaltia, in a way, could be what you're walking into. And at your own convenience, you could talk about that with your friends Cassandra and Tobit and Isabella there. Although you could flip a couple pages and go some other place and just create what you want. You don't have to be stuck in Xaltia, but you would have the option of being in that world if you want.
Okay.
And it would yeah, go ahead.
So who's there with me?
Cassandra, Tobit, and this lady who's a friend of Cassandra, who's, if you remember, was almost shot and she's like messed up. Her name is Isabella. And she's been kind of just someone dragged along. She hasn't been much help because she's just messed up. She's one of the operatives, which are the people they target. And Cassandra's fully functional, and Tobit's fully functional, and you're fully functional, and Isabella's kind of like under the weather, but she's with you. And those are the people you have. You also have that communicator to the other nine robots.
So we're in a slightly large. So we appear in the middle of a stone circle.
Very good.
At the edge of a cliff.
Very good.
And it's a small space, and the rest of us is surrounded by fog, but the area we're in is pretty clear.
That seems.
And we're at the Xaltian altar.
Definitely.
Which I know as well, which is technically my mind's eye.
You're in complete control of this.
The place in the world, between the world, which you know about. You wrote it with me.
Well, you know what? The fun part of this, friend, is like you literally can take the DM role, if you will, in a weird way, because you can completely control where you're at right now. It's your world. If you go out of this world, you'll be maybe be in contention with the guy who has the book to the rest of the world. But as long as you're in the Stone Circle or anywhere else you want to go to Xaltia, with your friends beside you doing what you want, you decide what's there.
Well, I know what's there, unfortunately, because of this mess. It's the shadow of
Arcane Maelstrom.
Arcane Maelstrom.
Maybe someone. Maybe you can.
And that would leave me sick and depleted, and I begged. I was like, "You need to take me to the Crystal City of Xaltia."
You say it to whom? You say it to the circle or the altar?
Cassandra, the other people.
You and Isabella are both kind of a little under the weather. Cassandra, Tobit's a big, strong dude. Tobit asks you, before you fail, can you remember my motorcycle? Do you remember what it looked like?
Motorcycle?
The motorcycle I brought worlds ago. Do you know, if you could draw that motorcycle?
I remember a cart made out of webs, and I remember a Nancy spider.
Yeah. Oh, you see a little spider kind of balloon down and sit on your shoulder, and you see its little eyes, and it's smiling at you, and it waves one of its little 8 arms at you. I've missed you, friend. Welcome back.
Where have you been?
Here.
Why are you here?
It was the last place I got left. I was probably meditating, sleeping, or something. I don't know.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. It's a big world. I've had a lot of interesting things. I've spun some webs. I've had some very nice things to eat. And then I moved on to another web. And I'm fine. I'm doing fine. In fact, I might be able to help you through this world as you know, I've learned about it too.
I'm not feeling very good.
Where should we go? I'll create. I know what I'll do. I'll weave you a chariot like I did years ago when we were here before. And he does. The little baby spider does that very quickly. Makes you a web, kind of like you had, you know, when we did our games a couple years ago, where it was like a web-made ice kind of sculpture of like a carriage, and Cassandra and Tobin put you in the back where it's a nice cushy chair. Cassandra and Tobin sit on either side of you. Isabella's there too, and the spider drives the vehicle all the way to the Crystal City, the Crystal City of Xaltia, and there you are in the Crystal City of Xaltia,
which now is in ruins and in utter decay from the escape of Arcane Maelstrom.
Yes, but there are people around. There's people around, and some people are trying to build it back. And you see, like, little sections of the crystals still have light in them because they've created it again. Most of the place is a damaged place, it's messed up. But you see certain people are trying to build it again. These kind of, like, paladin people and, you know, regular townspeople.
Well, I'm feeling faint and dizzy, and I know why, and I decide my only bet I could do is summon someone from here. So I quickly open my pouch and release the tardigrade.
Sure. Which one? All of them or one of them? Or both?
All of them, and I tell them to go and to return
to the land.
And they fly out. They fly out, and it looks like little small shimmering lights, and the lights grow and they stretch. And there is standing Kitty, my high-end, Ken, Sunny.
Anyone else that you want to bring?
Just them that were there. And, yeah, and,
you see, the spider, A. Nancy Spider, has woven, kind of you see, the little baby spider has woven a bunch of other, vehicles. So that basically you have kind of like a motorcycle gang, except they're little carriages made of ice and webs, and all of them have like these. You basically have a motorcycle gang with the tardigrades, your friends from AI, and yourself. Even though you're feeling a little sickly, there's a part of you that feels a little more, because you know you're not alone here. You have the spider, who's very much informed and very much on your side. You have the tardigrades, who've always been your friends, and then you have your new friends.
Anymore because I just released them.
What'd you say?
They're not tardigrades anymore. I released them, and they're
back to their people. Well, those people. Well, those people are all kind of like in their own little motorcycle type place, and they're kind of driving wherever you want them to, and they're actually feeling very good, even though you're feeling very bad. They're trying to send you their good energy, all of them together. Your new friends from AI is also kind of like got your back, and they're talking to you and doing what they can. And then the spider is there saying, whatever you want to weave, friend, it's up to you. And I've got your back, so I'll help you if necessary. And we can go in and out of this world as we choose, but as long as we're here, we're very safe. And we could go out of this world and still be safe. We can use the strength of this world to our advantage in other worlds. We have the ability to go in and out of the real gem at will. We are no longer trapped like we were years ago. And we're not trapped in these personalities. We have them as our friends, not the other way around. They don't control us. We control, we're in control. You are in control, and I'm right here with you. And I'm with you, and I'm with you. Isabella would be with you, but she's sleeping now.
So there's a tall, drow-looking elfling, and she says, "My name is Pesh." And she's strong. She's wearing a kind of like a armor of bone, and she has knives.
Nice.
And she asks, "Who are these strangers? What do you want here?"
I don't know. We're friends of Penn, who I think you know, and we're trying to help Penn get to the place where he wants to go, but also where we want to go. There's a world outside this place that is controlled by a very evil man.
Another man stands up next to Pesh. He's tall, brunette, kind of looks like Penn, but as if he was much older.
Mm-hmm.
And he's carrying a large broadsword.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that his name is Ken. And also standing next to him, he introduces a long brunette-haired, somewhat busty, traditional-looking, pretty elven woman, who he introduces to everyone as Mahayan.
Hello. Everyone's like shaking hands yeah.
Mahayan is interesting because she's super pretty, but you notice that she has tons of scars all over her arms and on the sides of her neck. And she looks really kind of mousy and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't make eye contact with anybody and doesn't say anything when Ken introduces her. And then there's and just behind them is another small, slightly humanoid, but looks very much like a cat. And she says, "Hello, my name's Kitty. Meow." And everyone's like, "Okay."
Well, you have basically, these personalities of yours from years back, and they're now in your hands as you draw them. You basically start to see what this is. Your book that you created is in your control. Years ago, you may have been controlled by it, but now you are completely in control because you have the capacity to write anything you want. And we'll help you. I'm really excited about this because I've learned certain things in the Operative Recovery Institute about the architecture of psychic stuff. So if I can at all help what you want to do, we can build this world as a strong world against whatever world we have to fight.
My high-end suddenly looks nervous. She says, You can't end the game.
We're not going to end the game. We're going to win the game.
She seems to become stressed when you said that, and she says, "You can't win something. Anyone could win something. If we win something, someone else writes something, and they win something, and so someone else writes something, and they win something."
Sounds like either Stoicism or Buddhism could help us right now. It makes you wonder what the self is. If the self is a circle of nothing and all of our personalities and thoughts are around it, then all of us harnessing that nothing can harness the whole world, including ourselves.
You see a tear roll down the side of Mahayan's face. She says, "Dice."
Dice? What you want to roll?
We're all dice.
And you roll well.
She looks down at the Nancy spider and says, "Roll something for me, would you?"
Of course, little friend. You have rolled 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You rolled 15, which is a good number. What is the task you want us to roll for?
My high-end goes up to Penn and steps into him.
Uh-huh.
And they all follow suit.
The other folks who used to be tardigrades all follow into you?
Yeah, except for Pesh is lagging behind.
Okay. Well, that's great. Actually, brother, I think this is a cool place to end for the episode, unless you want to expand some more.
Sure. I'm just sitting here.
Well, I think this is a great place. For the people watching, it'll be like, wow, a lot just happened. We could stop it here, and we could. It's been
an hour, hasn't it?
It's been about an hour. We did pretty well here, man. This is fun, and surely we could go. It's been 50 minutes. So I think a lot has happened. We had a lot of good shit. Let's stop it here. The next time you get some time to recuperate and decide, you can decide where to go from here.
Alrighty.
Well, thank you, comrade. I'm going to let you go for now, and Maybe I'll play that.
Okay.
No. I'll be on the phone with you. I'm just going to shut it off. No, I'll be on the phone with you, friend. I'm just, I'm sorry. Let me get to this part. This is the cool part, so let me do this. Okay. Let me see. Sorry. And, let me see. Oh, give me a moment. This is the end. And it won't be that song. It'll be our song. Here it is.